Welcome to Global Trade for Beginners. The dearth of information in global trade has kept most people away from it. Some people have attempted to venture but got their fingers burnt. On Global Trade for Beginners, we bring you short courses that allow you to tackle international trade knowledgeably. If you follow the instructions in this course, you are sure to come out equipped to make well informed decisions on your international trade transactions. Hello, I'm Adito Kumbadewoyin, an export consultant at Fortress 20 Global. Welcome to the fourth and final part of Basic Exports for Policymakers. In the third part, we covered supporting exporters, which was broken down into policies to support exporters, the importance of trade agreements and partnerships, common barriers to exporting, and the strategies to overcome these barriers. In this fourth part, we'll be focusing on enhancing export competitiveness. And during this session, we'll cover identifying target markets and conducting market research, the role of technology in facilitating exports using e-commerce and digital platforms, export key performance indicators for export success, and best practices for continuous improvement in export policies. Let's get right into part 4. Enhancing export competitiveness involves strengthening a country's ability to succeed in the international market. It requires improving product quality, reducing costs, leveraging technology, and aligning with global standards. Additionally, building strong trade relationships, accessing export financing, and adopting effective market strategies are essential. A competitive export sector not only boosts profitability for businesses, but it also contributes to economic growth and job creation in the country. Part of enhancing export competitiveness is identifying target markets and conducting market research. How can policymakers do this? There are a number of steps you can take. The first step is through data analysis and trade statistics. Policymakers can utilize trade data from local and international sources, for example, the WTO, the ITC, to identify growing demand for specific products or services in different markets. They can also analyze export and import trends to pinpoint high potential markets. The second step is engagement with trade promotion agencies. Policymakers can collaborate with national trade promotion organizations to gather insights on market opportunities, barriers, and competitors. They can leverage resources from export promotion agencies that offer market intelligence reports and research. Number three is through surveys and industry consultations. Policymakers can conduct surveys with exporters and industry experts to identify promising markets and understand export challenges. They can also engage with sector specific businesses to gather feedback on target markets and customer needs. The fourth is attendance at trade expos and trade fairs. Policymakers should participate in international trade fairs, expos, and industry conferences to assess market trends, to meet potential buyers, and to observe competitors. These events offer real time insights into market demand and opportunities. Number five is leveraging diplomatic and trade networks. Policymakers can engage embassies, consulates, and trade attaches to gain in depth knowledge of market conditions in foreign countries. They can also engage with the international chambers of commerce for additional market entry guidance. The sixth is competitor analysis. That's the sixth trend. Policymakers can study competitors' export markets to identify regions that are where similar products are gaining traction. They can also analyze competitors' success and failures in various markets so that they can assess the risks and opportunities of those markets. And lastly, number seven, which is the collaboration with multilateral organizations. Partnerships with organizations like the UN, ITC, and regional economic bodies can provide access to comprehensive market research reports on trade opportunities. By applying these strategies that we have mentioned, the seven strategies, policymakers can identify lucrative target markets and develop data driven export strategies to support businesses in reaching global markets. Next, let's look at the role of technology in facilitating exports. Technology plays a crucial role in facilitating exports, and policymakers can leverage it in several ways to enhance export performance. These are some of the ways that technology can facilitate exports. Number one, digital market access. Technology helps exporters access global markets through e commerce platforms, enabling businesses to reach international customers directly. Policymakers can promote and support the use of these platforms to expand export opportunities, especially for SMEs. Number two is through streamlining export processes. Technology simplifies export procedures by automating documentation, customs clearance, and compliance processes through online platforms. Policymakers can invest in digital infrastructure to create paperless trade systems. This reduces delays and costs for exporters. Number three, market intelligence and data analytics. Policymakers can provide exporters with access to data driven insights on global market trends, competitor analysis, and demand forecasting through digital tools. Government agencies can build or support market intelligence platforms that provide real time data to help exporters make informed decisions. Number four is enhancing trade logistics. Technology improves supply chain management, tracking, and logistics through innovations like IoT, blockchain, and AI. Policymakers can incentivize the adoption of advanced logistics technologies to ensure efficient and cost effective transportation of goods. Number five is facilitating access to finance. Fintech platforms enable exporters to secure trade financing, to manage payments and reduce transaction risk. Policymakers can create a favorable regulatory environment that encourages the use of digital financial services and export financing tools. Number six is virtual trade shows and networking. Technology enables virtual trade expos, B2B matchmaking, and global networking events. This helps exporters connect with buyers and partners without geographic limitations. Policymakers can support and organize virtual trade events to facilitate global engagement for local businesses. Number seven, capacity building and training. Digital platforms offer online training, certification, and knowledge sharing on export related topics, helping exporters build capacity and skills. Policymakers can promote and provide access to these resources to equip exporters with tools and knowledge needed for success. By integrating technology into export strategies, policymakers can significantly improve the efficiency and competitiveness and the global reach of local exporters. The key performance indicators for export success are measurable metrics that are used to evaluate the effectiveness of of a company's export activities and the company's overall performance in the international market. They help to assess factors like sales growth, market penetration, profitability, and operational efficiency to determine how well a business is achieving its export goals. By tracking these KPIs, businesses and policymakers can make informed decisions to optimize strategies, address challenges, and enhance global competitiveness. Let's look at some of these KPIs over the next couple of slides. The first KPI is export sales growth. This is the increase in the revenue from international markets over a specified period. It should be measured to ascertain export growth. The second KPI is the extent of market penetration. The number of new markets entered and the share of business in each target market should be tracked. Number three KPI is the profit margin on exports. The profitability of the export operations should be monitored, ensuring that costs are controlled while revenues are increased. KPI 4 is customer acquisition and retention. The number of new international customers and repeat orders from existing ones should be tracked to gauge long term success. KPI 5 is the export volume. The quantity of goods or services exported should be measured. It's often tied to achieving economies of scale. KPI 6 is the compliance rate. The business's adherence to export regulations, customs requirements, and international standards should be addressed to avoid penalties or delays. KPI 7 is on time delivery. The percentage of shipments delivered on or before the agreed date should be monitored, reflecting logistical efficiency and customer satisfaction. KPI 8 is customer satisfaction in the international market. The feedback and satisfaction levels from foreign buyers should be measured through surveys or repeat orders. KPI 9 is cost efficiency. The costs associated with logistics, warehousing, compliance, and tariffs should be tracked to ensure competitiveness without cutting profit margins. KPI 10 is the growth in market share. The company's share of total sales in the target export market should be measured and compared with its competitors. KPI 11 is brand awareness in the foreign market. The visibility and recognition of the brand in the international market should be assessed through marketing effectiveness and sales leads. KPI 12 is product diversification in export markets. The introduction and success of different products across the various markets should be tracked to reduce the dependence on a single product or a single region. These KPIs provide a comprehensive view of export performance and can help businesses and policymakers adjust strategies to improve success. Next, let's talk about best practices for improving export policies. These are the strategies that help keep rules and regulations up to date, simpler, and more effective. It ensures that they stay in line with global market trends, changes in trades, and the needs of the exporters. Some of these best practices include: 1. Regular policy review and updates. Policies should be continuously assessed and revised to reflect changes in global trade and market demands and international regulations. Number two, stakeholder engagement. They should involve that's policymakers now. They should involve exporters, trade associations, industry experts, and other stakeholders in policy discussions to ensure that the policies they make address real world challenges and opportunities. Number three, data driven decision making. Policymakers should use trade data, market research, and performance metrics, the KPIs that we mentioned earlier, to guide policy adjustments and make informed decisions that improve export competitiveness. Number four, capacity building and training. Policymakers should offer continuous education and skill development programs for exporters, policymakers, and trade officials to enhance knowledge of evolving trade practices and regulatory requirements. Number five, incentives, and financial support. Policymakers should regularly evaluate and update export incentives such as duty drawbacks, tax reliefs, and subsidies. This is to ensure that they are effective in promoting and enhancing competitiveness. Number six, streamlining export processes. Policymakers should adopt digital platforms and technologies to simplify documentation, compliance, and customs procedures, which makes it easier and faster for businesses to export. Number seven, benchmarking with global best practices. Local export policies should be compared with successful international models and best practices from leading exporting countries. um, Best practices from leading exporting countries should be integrated locally to improve effectiveness. Number eight, the support for innovation and sustainability. Innovation in products and services should be encouraged through policies that promote research and development and sustainability. This helps exporters to meet global market trends and standards. Number nine, building trade relationships and networks. Relationships with trade partners, regional organizations, and multilateral trade bodies should be fostered to expand market access, to negotiate trade agreements, and to resolve trade barriers. And lastly, number 10, monitoring and compliance. Policymakers should continuously monitor export activities for compliance with international laws and standards and to provide support to exporters in meeting these requirements. By implementing these best practices, policymakers can ensure that export policies remain effective, responsive to market changes, and aligned with global trade dynamics. As we conclude this course, it's essential to recognize the vital role you play in export success as a policymaker. Creating supportive policies is crucial for boosting export competitiveness, ensuring compliance with regulations, and addressing global market challenges. By gaining a clear understanding of key export processes and strategies, you can more effectively support export businesses, you can drive economic growth, and you can strengthen your country's standing in international trade. Thank you for watching this video on basic export for policymakers. Our company, Fortress 20 Global, is a trade facilitation and export management company based in Lagos, Nigeria. We're dedicated to simplifying and enhancing intra-African and global trade. Our comprehensive services include, but are not limited to, curriculum design and development, comprehensive documentation support, online and in-person training programs, and so much more. For custom training courses on international trade and related topics, please reach out via WhatsApp to the number on your screen. You can also request our latest training catalog by sending an email to the email address displayed. Thank you again for watching. I hope this video has helped you gain a clearer understanding of exports from a policy making perspective. Remember to like, comment, and share this video with other policymakers in the international trade sector. Be sure to subscribe to receive notifications when new videos are posted. See you next time on Global Trade for Beginners. I wish you a successful journey in international trade.